dynamic entry. Sorry. My name is Bear with BearIndependent.com, which in Espanol is the Oso Independiente and El Barro del Independiente.com. You're welcome. Now that's a thing you know. Today, we're talking about assets for SHTF, and a lot of y'all are already like, Bear, I got a Connex box. It's just jam-packed full of stuff, and I got all the things, man. You lose. That is not the primary discussion in today's video. Things are great, but worthless if you don't have people to use them. You see what I did there? Here's the deal. Yes, you need things, but they are immaterial if there's nobody to hold and or utilize your things. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today and hopefully kind of bring this whole thing full circle to paint a better picture, whether you're a 23-year-old stud who, shot expert with his M16 A4 or whatever, A2. What are they issuing now? A4? Question mark? You'll tell me down here. Or if you're a 63-year-old woman or a 45-year-old man with a questionable back or whatever. Let's talk about some assets. So first is who? Who are your people? Really? Who are your people? Now, a lot of people, you're like, this is obvious. Is it? How many people have you sat down and had a talk with them and said, all right, balloon goes up. What are you doing? Are you coming here? Are you not coming here? If you think you're coming here, why do you not have any food here yet? Where are you going to sleep? Barbara Joe? Maybe you should get a bucket and some peat moss so we could start this composting toilet thing when you get here. Let's do the things, okay? If you're not coming here, I need to know so that I'm not planning on you coming here. I'm not planning on having you on our team and looking for places where you would be best used on our team. So this seems like a pretty simple question, but if you've not actually clarified the who, you need to have a serious conversation with your people. And remember, the who is dynamic. I get the question all the time, especially from patrons who are like, Bear, how do I build the right mag? Answer, you don't. You build the right now mag. Because people are always coming and going, whether, you got to throw somebody out, or new people move into the community, or old people move away, or unfortunately people pass away, or new people are born. The community is fluid. The team is fluid. People come, people go. There's a constant exchange of new blood. So, who's on your team? Now, who's on your team? What are their abilities and limitations? An example I like to use is my mom is medically dependent. My mom has lots of abilities. My mom can make, she's a phenomenal seamstress. She can make you a wedding dress. Ladies, men, you need professional help if you want a wedding dress. But ladies, she can just take your measurements and discuss with you what you want and boom, make you a phenomenal wedding dress. I've seen her do it. She makes, handmade jewelry and toys and stuffed animals and garments and stuff just with her hands. Completely blows me away. What she can't do is go outside and split a bunch of firewood. While she can run a rifle, it's not her primary job. It's not her secondary job. It's one of those things where if grandma's pressing triggers, we've done our job wrong, okay? So she has abilities. She also has limitations. A lot of people write me and they say, Bear, I get it, all this prepper stuff's great, but I'm in a wheelchair, what do I do? Or, my girlfriend walks with hand crutches, what do I do? Or, man, you get in where you can fit in. It's so important to have a group now because, frankly, post-event, If I know you now and I know you, I'm not looking at the wheelchair, I'm looking at you, and I know you are awesome and you have an inherent talents, abilities, and skills, and you're a real human being. You rock. We have that context together, and I know that, man, I'm not gonna put you on the security team, but I don't have to worry because, man, you've got a pistol and you know how to do the things that if somebody gets up in your business, we don't have to, nobody should ever get up in your business, but at least you can deal with it yourself if you need to, right? And so if you have physical limitations, do the next right thing. Do what you can do. And so understanding who are your people, what are their abilities, and what are their limitations is really important, because then that allows you to get to the what. What skill sets and equipment do we have on hand as our assets so that we can deploy those against the actual situation. We just went over actual versus probable versus possible versus doing a threat assessment so that we have the actual skills and equipment that we need to deal with the reality. Now, let's say that that's a bad storm comes through and you need chainsaws. Okay, well, it's not just chainsaws, right? You need to be able to operate a chainsaw. And then it's the chainsaw, the mixed fuel, additional 2-cycle oil for more fuel, bar oil, round files of the appropriate size, flat files because you do know how to file down your rakers, right? At least one spare chain. I like it if you have a spare spark plug with you as well, and you do have all of your PPE, and you have a hand axe, and you have your wedges, and you have that cool little bar tool thing that Brother Cody at Sojourn Gear makes so that you're not constantly losing your bar tool. And you have all of that, right? Because it's not just the saw. And then even on top of that, it's not just having all of those things, it's knowing how to use all of those things to accomplish the mission, which is cut this tree up, right? So you need to have the skill sets and the equipment. It's not just having 40 pounds of seed to plant a garden. You do need that, but you also really need to know how to plant the freaking garden. And more than that, you need the discipline, believe me, to go out there and weed the freaking garden. So, skill sets and equipment. And then as far as how, what I like to think about is how do we deploy these assets? That matters. But also, how do we perpetuate what we have? How do we keep the people that we have? How do we keep the skill sets that we have sharp? How do we perpetuate the equipment so that it runs? How do we perpetuate our abilities and limit our limitations? How do we maintain normalcy at a minimum? A basic state of readiness, perpetuate all of these things. And then further, how do we develop these things even further? How do we find more people? How do we increase the abilities of those that we have? How do we make sure that our limitations don't grow? How do we further develop our applicable skill sets? How do we develop our inventory of equipment? Right? And so it's not enough to simply have these things. You have to be able to use these things. You have to be able to at least maintain a minimum standard with these things and then be able to go further, right? So this how here is not just perpetuate, but develop as well. At a minimum, we want to perpetuate. We want to keep what we got, but really, we want to be able to keep what we got so we can use that to further develop all of this. Now, within that, Tactical Kydex Expo holder. I'm telling you, if you make Kydex, please email me. November Tango X-Ray Mike Alpha Golf at gmail.com. NTXMag at gmail. I do that because the super ultra knife hand tactical guys respond well to that stuff. But really, NTXMag at gmail.com. I want a Kydex eraser holder and marker holder, so I can draw them off my center line and be ready to go. Okay. Anyway, next, knowledge. Knowledge, and you know the difference between wisdom and knowledge and information and all those old, wives' tales and caveats and sayings. Knowledge. I want within our assets, our people, because this is our number one asset right here, is people. I want the ability to take this knowledge and to teach it and to train others so that if you're the commo guy while you know all about DMR mark and how that works with this thing and that thing and the difference between a hotspot and a repeater and how a Kenwood radio has to go through either a hotspot or a repeater on DMR in order to be able to talk to a Yaesu radio of the same channel and blah, 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 blah. I'm glad you know that, and you can. And there's one brother in particular who's probably going, he's picking on me again. I love you, brother. I'm using this as an example. While I can grasp what you're trying to say about this much of it, we need the ability to take that knowledge and then teach it to all the rest of our people in a way that they will understand so that we can increase their ability, grow their skill sets. And then do we have the equipment? Can we raise up an apprentice underneath our subject matter expert? Well, it's going to take 2 more radios, one to break and one for him to learn on. Okay, how do we get 2 more radios? Right, let's develop that. So, I mean, training as well. Just some things you should train with repeatedly, consistently. Firearms, perishable skill. Believe me. I was pretty embarrassed my last range day, actually, with the pistol, which is not my, I have the least amount of experience with a pistol. Not to say I still haven't shot thousands of rounds with a pistol, but long gun and carbine, much more so. So anyway, point being, you have to consistently train these things because there is an element of muscle memory, but there is also keeping a sharp edge on your skill set. You have to maintain it, right? And then all of this should serve, as far as your assets go with your people, to build community and build team. Why is that important? And yeah, we're going to bounce to the other whiteboard in a minute, but just hang in with me here. Why is this important? Because one person cannot do all of the things, okay? So by sharing our knowledge, teaching and training all of these things, valuing people as our number one asset, accentuating our abilities, downplaying our limitations, building, perpetuating and developing our skill sets and our equipment loadout, by focusing on all of this, we get down here to community and team building, because this creates a ton of context in and amongst a group of people, okay? Which is team building and community building. Why is that important? We'll get, let's see, this marker, and we'll go over here to this whiteboard. Yes. See this? Okay. Here's why I bring this up. Most people, at least most men who initially get into preparedness, start here. Security. You see these guys? Look at them. They're hardcore, man. 1,000-yard stare, ready to go. They got their boots, they got their rifles, they got their helmets. Look, they don't care. They don't care. I've seen it all, man. Come at me. Right? So, most people start here in their mind when they start prepping. And a lot of them want to stay here, okay? Well, this is just one facet. I'm going to show you here in a minute. A lot of people start over here in agricultural, the homesteading, the farming type thing. Well, there's not necessarily a bad place to start, but we're gonna paint some pictures here. Okay. Well, this is a great place to start. If you don't have some of this to protect this, you've got issues. But we'll just say we start with the security guys, because the prepper world loves security stuff, because men love it as an excuse to say to their wives, babe, I gotta buy another rifle. What are you gonna do when the zombies are trying to rape our dog and I can't kill him? Well, Bob, that's probably not going to happen, but whatever. Most people start here. So let's just say these security guys, what is their job? To help us perpetuate normalcy, right? So they're going to be patrolling here's our village, right? These guys are patrolling. They are our security guys. Well, what are they going to eat? Agriculture over here. It's growing food, okay? They're growing the food. Well, that food needs to get cooked and distributed via our logistics to our security guys. And in order to cook the food, we need the resources over here. This is a forest, by the way, with a beautiful little pond. We need to hypothetically cut wood to build fire to cook food on and gather this water to cook food on. Then after we cook this food, we need the sanitation, and we need the water anyway because these guys are going to be grungy after 72 hours in the field. They're going to have to clean up. So they're going to need the water from the resources and this sanitation over here, which all of this is perpetuated by the agriculture and the ability to make use of it by cooking it, distributed by the logistics portion, which is maintained by the maintenance and mechanical people. And these security guys, as well as everybody else, they're going to stub their toes or get an ingrown fingernail or whatever, and so they're going to need the medical people over here. And these guys are using equipment and operating on intel that's provided by our commo and intel guys, all of which to protect the village and perpetuate normalcy for the people of this community who meet in this longhouse type thing, which is the school / church / meeting hall. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Everybody wants to do the tactical pew-pew things, and what they don't realize is, A, doing this full time is not anything but a young man's game, and it's not eminently enjoyable. There's good times, but there's a reason they break this up into 4-year cycles, 3-year cycles. Not a, here you go, 20-year ticket. Yeah, you can re-enlist, but they don't say, well, you're on the hook for 20 years, bro. They let you decide every now and then, do you really still want to do this? Okay, so even then, as we've talked about before here, these security guys, our operators, our door kickers, just as in the United States military, are supported by a vast array of other types of MOSs, other military occupational specialties, other people within the tribe who do other things to create the ability for these guys to do their job. All that being said, here in this village community, this is not the most important job. This is the most important job. Food and agriculture. But really, they're all the most important job. We have to have these guys. We have to have a security force. And maybe your tribe is big enough that it's a full-time security force, or maybe you have a smaller tribe and it's, part-timers. Everybody, draws a couple of watches per week, so forth and so on. And either is fine as long as you have a system worked out. But these guys have to have a place to go if they get sick. They have to have resources to consume. There has to be a way for them to stay clean and wash their gear and maintain their gear. There has to be a place for them to lay their heads and to rest. There has to be logistics built around facilitating these guys doing their job. And they have to operate using equipment and intelligence gathered by these guys over here. And so all of this works together just in this one facet of security. We could go another direction with it. Let's say that you're the village mayor, okay? This is your village and this is your community center. All right, well, as village mayor, you need to maintain normalcy, right? This is why we're prepping. We're stockpiling material goods in conjunction with skill set, mindset, heart set to be able to deploy those against potential chaos to perpetuate normalcy. That's why we're doing this. So as the mayor, if I'm the mayor of this town, I need my security guys making sure that we're protected, actively and passively. I need my maintenance guys to keep my logistics up and running so that we can move personnel, material goods around the village so that we can go to the woods and gather resources, we can gather water. And whether these are trucks or horse and buggy or whatever, doesn't matter. I need my agricultural people working with my food production people, my sanitation people to make sure that we're keeping people well fed. I need my medical people to make sure that we're keeping people well taken care of so that everybody can show up and do their jobs. And I'm using all of this in conjunction with my ability to communicate with all my people and gather intel through my network, my tribe, to compile all of that back here to constantly have the best picture of what's happening on the 4-dimensional battle space as possible as the mayor. So all of these things work together. That's the point that I'm trying to make here, and that's why I drew all these crappy little drawings, is so that you realize all of these things work together. And because all of these things work together, our number one asset is people. And with people, we want to make sure that we perpetuate and develop our skill sets and equipment so that we can maintain and improve our abilities while we are dealing with working around our limitations, so that we can share our knowledge and teach and train each other to increase ability, so that we can foster community and team building, so that all of this works together. That's the point that I'm trying to make with this. That's why people are your number one asset for SHTF. And the reason I make this video is so that you can understand, if you are a 23-year-old stud and you like this kind of work, there's a place for you. Come on with it. If you're a 40-something ER doc, there's a place for you. Come on with it. If you're a woodcutter, we've got room. There's a place for you. If you're a chef, restaurateur, entrepreneur, there's things that you can do. If you're like, I don't know, I've just always been a homemaker my whole life, there's no diminishing that whatsoever. I say this all the time. These guys need somebody, where are they? These guys right here need somebody to be their mom. Really. Laundry, food, sanitation, I mean, all these things, somebody to help facilitate, and somebody to, quietly, clandestinely lay their head on their shoulder and just sigh for a moment. Somebody to vent to, right? If you're a 50-something ham radio operator guy, man, there's a place for you. If you're but if you are, you're a teacher or a pastor or a law enforcement officer, firefighter, EMS, whatever, there's room for all types. Truck driver, an electrician, carpenter. There's room for everybody here. And because we do this, the opportunities for cross-training for the 50-something ham radio operator to learn how to run his rifle from these guys is massive. And these guys work closely together. The logistics guys work closely with the maintenance guys, and the two of those came up with an idea that's really going to help us streamline our agriculture, which is going to increase food production, which is great because that creates a surplus. Now the mayor, using his intel and working his network, puts us in a better position of strength to interact with the greater community at large, because these guys cross-trained with these guys, so forth and so on. And this is the concept of we are awesome. Not I am awesome, not you are awesome. We are awesome. This is cool. This is awesome. And so this is why I am constantly begging y'all to meet people, date each other, fall in love, build context, do hard things together, share life experiences together, worship, laugh, cry, scream together, do life together so that you can do this. On whatever level you can, do this. I hope that y'all have found this beneficial and informative and hopefully a little bit entertaining. If you'd like to be here, please click the subscribe button. You can ring the little bell. Again, my name is Bear with BearIndependent.com. You can check out that website. There's all kinds of stuff on there. Very interesting stuff there. And I would encourage you, if you'd like to see more of these, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you'd like to talk about. And shout out to our patrons. You guys are awesome. You are the economic engine of the Bear Nation. We love you guys. We deeply appreciate you guys. And if you'd like to support the show, you can always click the baby bear up here in the corner. And there's at least 24 exclusive pieces of content per month at Patreon. We're not just asking for your dollar because you like us. We provide value over on that platform as well. So thank you guys for being here. Share this with somebody who needs to see this. Shalom.